Aloha everyone, Joshua Hayes at bigwavetrading.com. Well, I tell you what, for the fourth session in a row, it's pretty much about as good as it gets in the overall market. We still don't have above average volume on the NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange, but as you can see by just looking at these two indexes, the NASDAQ rallied on heavier volume than the session before, and the New York Stock Exchange rallied on the heavier volume session before. Oh, it's a miracle. Okay, but still, it's below average. So there isn't any clear, like, conviction with confidence. Oh, yeah, this market wants to explode higher. Um, Signal from the overall market. So until that shows up, guys, I'm going to continue with my status quo trading that I've been in under ever since that sell-off started in January, and that I've been doing the entire time since those February lows when new long positions just continue to show up and trigger. Small, measured positions with tight, logical and rational stops, multiple stops, splitting them up, consolidating, raising, widening, as each stock sees fit based on how it trades following my entry. So with all that being said, really quick, just looking at the ETFs, SPY looking good. Too bad not higher volume today. IWM, same thing. QQQ and DIA all have successfully tested recent support. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has gotten back over the 50-day moving average. I like to see that. The NYSE followed through on its 50-day moving average and 200-day moving average retake. The NASDAQ continues to follow through off its 50, and the Russell 2000, 169.31, yeah, came ever so close to closing at new all-time highs. So with all that being said, everything is looking good. I want to pull over here. Hold on, let me pull this over from the other screen. Let's widen this out a little bit like we do, just so I can show you what I keep always showing you, so you know what I'm going to look at right now. This New York Stock Exchange advanced decline line. Take a look at the S&P 500. You can see that it's still consolidating from those recent January highs. So as we consolidate, what has the NYSE advanced decline line done lately? It's broken out to new highs, followed through immediately again, and has followed through for the third session in a row with more all-time highs. And a tad surprising to me, but good to see, the put-call ratio, IBD put-call ratio, that tracks the puts versus calls total trading volume, that actually ticked higher from 0.74 to 0.81 following Monday's big up session. So that's, contrarian, pretty good news for the bulls. I mean, doesn't mean that we can't, sell off. And in fact, I assume that we should pull back from this recent straight V-shaped move higher again. Here comes another one. It's a little bit more round this time, but still, when you go up every day, that's pretty much a V move. So I would like to see us pull back on low volume, consolidate, then ramp higher. But with us being in the middle of the most bullish seasonal month, to be honest with you, you want to kind of just see it keep on V ramping, and that's what it does. It's what it does. Getting to the sell signals, you can see today only 2 of the 4 limits filled. MCF, if you go look, ran over 10% without me. DWSN actually pulled back to my limit price at $7.95. But my limit order did not trigger, so $7.95 stays on the book. MCF, I believe that's at like $5.83. I got to move that up to today's low day. I believe it's $5.85. But really quick before I go through that, just look at the sell signals. As you can see, during the first half hour of the session, only 4 stops triggered, and it was in a hedge. After the first 30 minutes, then it was all stocks, but you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stocks only triggered sell stops. So not too bad. This one, I think tiny profits, very large profits, small losses, small gains, tiny losses, regular size losses, not too big, not too small, small gains, Regular size losses, good, decent profits on that profit stop, small gains, and then very small losses on CODX. But overall, very, very, very good session. 8 stops triggered in stocks, 4 stops triggered in hedges, only 7 stocks total to actually trigger any stops. It's about as good as it gets. And like I said, MCF, I missed it by a couple of cents, up 13% today. The low a day is now my new limit. But with all that out of the way, there were only 2 sell signals. On top of only having 12 intraday stops trigger, only 2 end of day sell signals occurred. APTO closing below its 50-day moving average on above average volume. That's a 50% sell signal. What I have remaining, half goes here, 334. I then have a quarter of them what's remaining right below here, 325. And then my final sell stop is right below here, 313 on APTO. And then GEN following today's session is a 100% sell signal, with it closing below its 50-day moving average and this low right here on above average volume while losing green bop completely. That's always going to be a 100% full sell signal. So I believe I still had, I've already consolidated them on my end, but I believe I had a stop still here and a stop here. I have taken those 2 stops, raised them, and consolidated them to 1 cent below today's low a day at 192 for GEM, which then now leads us into our long positions. There was only 1 new quote, quote, quality long signal and 2 add signals in quote, quote, quality positions. That being said, I also received 3 actionable signals on the speculative side. These stocks, though, are so volatile, high beta, risky, not from either my Perfect Speculator cancel them or IPO scan, that I just can't list it for everyone. So I'm going to have to list it for platinum members only on the speculative side. But know that 2 of them are former Perfect Speculator quality stocks, and both will be future Perfect Speculators quality stocks. One of them only has to move 1% higher, and it will be replaced back into my Perfect Speculator scan, making it PS quality. And the other one needs a 10% move higher. If it gets that, it re-enters my Perfect Speculator scan. But both of those stocks are not currently Perfect Speculator stocks, so I consider them too speculative, with them both being under $10, with one being under $5, to list them as quality. So that then leaves us with the only new quality long position being ORN. Hard to see there, but ORN is closing above where it opened at 826. You can see the surge in volume. BOP was already green for a while, started to trend in the other direction, then surged back to max green BOP. So ORN, pretty good. Doesn't have 20 days of green BOP, so it missed that scan, but still can some quality, and it was confirmed in my price volume BOP surge scan. So ORN, 1.5% of my account capital. Limit order 831, the high of the day, since it's not extended from its 20-day moving average. And then I'm going to personally carry multiple stops. 791, 783, 769, 759, and 749 are the stocks I'm going to carry. Remember, if it pulls back on heavier volume or loses its green BOP, just like GEN, I'll be consolidating whatever doesn't get hit, just like on GEN with ORN. And then the 2 add signals, they're both from my higher quality scans. MICT is from my Perfect Speculator scan, and CLPS is from my IPO scan. Hard to see here once again. Even can't see it there either, but you gotta take my word, and if you don't take my word, just look up here. But CLPS closed higher than where it opened. If it would have opened at 11.05 and closed at 11, CLPS would not have been a new long. Since it's the inverse, I am going to add to my remaining position. Limit order on CLPS 11.45, first cut loss level 10.12, and the only one, if you decide to take it, that I want you to obey. But for me, I'm also going to have, and still have on my remaining position, one back here at 765. I'm willing to let this thing work all the way back there as long as it pulls back on lighter volume and keeps that max green bop. Starts to lose the green bop or max green bop, I'll start consolidating stops. But CLPS should be 1% for IPO, 0.5% for being in my max green bop for 5-day scan. Has to be halved because it's an add signal, but it's not extended, so it's not halved again. So 0.75% of my account capital. 1145 and 1012 is the only level I want you to pay attention to. And then MICT, Perfect Speculator Scan. It's a sub $5 stock, so normally if it was new, it's just 0.5%. Since it's an add signal, it's 0.25%. And since it's extended, it should be 0.125%, but I'm not going to get that small into it. I'm just going to treat it basically as a 0.5% signal. I'm just going to reduce it in half for being perfect speculator. I'm just going to treat it like it's a perfect speculator, higher price quality stock. Half that 0.5, and then half that again 0.25. So we'll just treat it like a regular perfect speculator stock. Halved because it's an add signal, halved again because it's extended. So 0.25% of my account capital, limit order 163, first cut loss 149, final cut loss 142. I really would prefer everyone, if you're uninitiated or new to my methodology, to avoid MICT and CLPS and only focus on ORN. All right, everyone, I'll see you in the chat room Tuesday morning or right back here following Tuesday session. Aloha.